Bola Tinubu swears in 7 new ministers.
For us, it was a challenge when a nation was servicing its debt with 97%.
Nasarawa state government abolishes local government joint account. Court of Appeal unfreezes accounts of former Chief Justice of Nigeria. Welcome to the news desk at 6 on Nta News24. We are live from Abuja. I am Nta News. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to facilitate the immediate release of the minors facing trial in connection to the recent protests in some northern states. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, after meeting with the President, announced this to State House correspondent.
The President has directed that these children, these minors, be released immediately. This is, of course, without prejudice to whatever legal processes there are. Of course, if you look at this issue, there is the legal side of it, but there is also the human angle, humanitarian side of it. Mr. President has directed that whatever the circumstances are, let the minors be released. They can, of course, continue whatever process there are, if indeed there are, as stipulated by our laws. But the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs has been directed by the President to ensure that they have safe return and reunion to their family members. And like I said earlier, if there are any infractions being committed by any law enforcement officer or any official of government, a disciplinary action will be taken against such person.
The 7 newly appointed ministers have been inaugurated into the renewed Hope administration. President Tinubu performed the ceremony in the council chambers of the State House this Monday. The new ministers are Idi Mokhtar Meha, Livestock Development, Bianca Odumegwu-Ojukwu, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Soiba Saad, Minister of State Education, Yusuf Abdullahi Atta, Minister of State Housing and Urban Development, Jumoke Oduwale, Trade and Investment, Nentawe Iyewada, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, and Muhammadu Maigeri Dingyadi, Labor and Employment. President Tinubu thanked the ministers for accepting to serve as his administration engaged with the re-engineering of the economy. He encouraged them to be resolute and bring in their best for the benefit of the nation.
On the edge of bankruptcy, that is the truth. And you are called upon to join the team to rescue this country. Service is the hallmark of this human endeavor we have been called upon. Despite the challenges, we failed the job of re-engineering and retooling the economic part of this country. For us, it was a challenge when a nation was servicing its debt with 97% of its revenue. It's nothing but end of the clip. But today I can report to you that we brought that one down and it's at 65%. We have never defaulted in paying our obligations. We meet all obligations, both foreign and domestic. I really appreciate the fact that you've taken the oath of office and ready to serve your nation.
And the Court of Appeal has ordered the unfreezing of the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Samuel Walter Onoyen's bank accounts in Standard Chartered Bank, Wuse, Abuja. This was after the court discharged and acquitted Onoyen from the charges preferred against him in 2019 for not properly declaring his assets, leading to his removal from office and the freezing of Onoyen's bank accounts. The consent judgment is the outcome of settlement terms reached by counsel to the federal government and the former CGN.
Let it be known by the whole world that judiciary in Nigeria is one of the best in the world. We have men and women of character learning who have sacrificed their life from their early age to old age to become anything in judiciary. And yet people talk flippantly, they talk recklessly concerning these eminent Nigerians. If we don't respect our judiciary in Nigeria, the whole world will not respect judiciary in Nigeria.
The former Chief Justice of Nigeria had challenged his conviction and removal from office at the Court of Appeal. And moving on, Nasarawa State Government has abolished local government joint account. This follows signing into law of the Nasarawa State Local Government Law 2024 by Governor Abdullahi Sule. Aliyu Tijani reports.
It is a historic event, though brief, but impactful as Nasarawa State ushers in new era that will accelerate development across local government areas. The event, which is the signing into law of the Nasarawa State Local Government Law 2024, is witnessed by Deputy Governor, Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Chief Judge of the State, members of the State Executive Council and Chairman State Council of Chiefs, among others. Under the new law, which comes into effect immediately, the state government will not interfere in affairs of local government, thus affirming independence of each local government.
By enacting this law, we are taking decisive steps towards empowering our local government councils and freeing them from the other local laws that will contradict the Supreme Court decision and ensuring that they operate independently and effectively in serving our local communities.
The state government will oversee the administration of development areas and ensure they are properly funded. The state government will also establish the State Economic Council with all chairmen, among others, as members. The State Economic Council will be chaired by the State Deputy Governor, Dr. Emmanuel Akabi. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani, Nta News.
And the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals says it will continue engaging key players in the mining sector to unravel the remote and immediate causes of minefield collapse in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. Chairman of the committee, Ekong Samson, stated this at the Government House, Mina, during an assessment visit to the state. National Assembly correspondent Asa Mohammed reports.
The recent minefield collapse in Shiroro, during which workers lost their lives, was brought to the attention of the Senate through a motion from Senator Sani Musa, leading to a resolution to investigate the incidents. The committee expressed sympathy over the tragedy with an assurance to uncover the line of fault for appropriate action.
Accepts our sympathies. What happened was breathtaking. A number of lives were lost, and some issues were raised about mining safety in Nigeria, the safeguards being put in place. And as a Senate, we became even more determined to put in measure such safeguards that will prevent a reoccurrence.
Any mining exploration that will take place without adequate safety and health and hazardous standards in order to curb such incidents, any leader will be very, very interested to seeing that he holds that area carefully.
Niger State Governor Muhammad Umaru Bago says his administration insists on responsible mining practice for sustainable operations and well-being of the citizenry.
Artisanal mining has cost us a lot of lives. It has cost us lots of properties. It has encouraged a lot of banditry and insecurity. Companies, for instance, who would be given permission to do mining in communities will have to understand that there are post-mining effects. These are some of the initiatives in the new law we are about to pass.
The committee reassured that its report will capture all concerns to ensure that mining activities in Nigeria are standardized and in the interest of host communities and the government. From Mina, Niger State, Issa Muhammad, NTA News.
The House of Representatives is to engage the new Minister of Education, Finance and Budget Office next week with a view to proffer solution in recruitment process and exemption of universities from IPPIS platform. Chairman, House Committee on University Education, Abubakar Hassan Folata, stated this during a rescheduled oversight to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. National Assembly correspondent Mohammed Rabiu Ali reports.
The interface is called off, and the management of ABU hereby summoned to appear before the committee at a date to be announced later.
The rescheduled visit to Ahmadu Bello University Zaria was as a result of the absence of Vice Chancellor and other top management when the committee visited the university in September this year. Some anomalies in internally generated revenue and budget utilization were identified by the committee.
Our interest is the expenditure itself. Now, in most of the cases, the amount generated are not expended, leaving huge balances which are not carried over.
When we are making our submissions to the Accountant General office, we have to follow the format. That's the National Chart of Accounts. That's why we are reporting it like this. But we will report to this department in the Accountant General office so that this observation will be noted.
The problem is new IPs, sir. New IPs, not gift fees, not yet on gift fees.
We are missing the new ministers of education.
Thank you very much. So as at now, it's not possible to recruit. There are restrictions.
The same scenario played out at the federal universities in Dusemma and Azare. The committee asked the management of Federal University of Health Sciences Azare to follow due process in recruitment and revenue spendings. For now, the committee has concluded this phase of oversight at all the federal universities, and it is expected to lay its report at plenary. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Let's take a break now. More reports shortly.
The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together.
Glad to have you back. A multi-trillion naira Northeast Stabilization and Development Master Plan has been presented to the Lake Chad Basin Commission to tackle the complex issues affecting the region. Elizabeth Mori reports that the comprehensive plan, handed over by Mohammed Goni Al-Khali, Chief Executive Officer of the Northeast Development Commission, aims to drive long-term economic growth of the region.
Chad region over the years has been grappling with numerous challenges from insecurity to climate change and economic development. Addressing these developmental issues informed this follow-up meeting to amplify the input of the master plan for implementation. The 10-year plan has 11 pillars covering agriculture, peace building, education, industrialization and more.
There are going to be an operational team that will sit down and look at it critically, the master plan, and come up with an area where the two commissions can collaborate and also bring out those areas that can be done immediately in the short term, long term, so that at the end of the day, we are all on the same lane rather than doing it separately.
The document, drawn in 2022, has more than 500 programs and projects with 4 phases, which include recovery and stabilization, renewal, expansion, and sustainable growth.
The only limitation factor that we have, as usual, is funding. Otherwise, the plan is an excellent plan. It is an adaptive plan, and it is also in line with our regional stabilization strategy. You know, we developed that strategy in 2018.
If effectively implemented, it will accelerate regional growth, improve livelihoods, and strengthen regional security. Other issues raised at the meeting include shrinking water levels at the Lake Chad, rain patterns, and displacement, as well as implementation of the roadmap, which will form part of discourse at the 3rd International Forum on the Development of the Lake Chad region. From N'Djamena, Chad, Elizabeth Omori, Nta News.
Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority is spearheading a regional training focused on occupational radiation protection with the aim to enhance safety standards across Africa. This initiative is in partnership with the International Atomic Energy Agency, brings together experts and stakeholders from various countries to bolster understanding and implementation of radiation safety protocols in workplaces. Nta News24 reports.
The training taking place in Abuja underscores Nigeria's commitment to promoting a culture of safety and compliance in handling radioactive substances. Director General of the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority, Dr. Yao Usman Idris, emphasized the importance of such regional training in building a strong, unified approach to radiation safety within Africa.
We are starting with 25 countries. You can see we have 25 countries here in Nigeria to training them on the occupational exposure for industrial and also medical application of nuclear and radioactive materials. And this is just the beginning.
Participants engaged in series of discussions led by professionals in the field, covering topics such as regulatory frameworks, risk assessment, and emergency preparedness.
In the end, they have a good argument on how to optimize what options there are and which options you will choose based on the analysis that the participants made. That's actually what they will learn.
Expectations for this training basically is to learn from others and from the experts on the best practices for optimization.
The insights and collaborative efforts shared during this training are expected to enhance regulatory practices and safety measures across Africa. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
Security experts say safeguarding power installation must be considered a top priority by host communities to mitigate vandals threatening the country's collective clamor for power supply. This and other issues came to the fore on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria. Lydia Sampson reports. That report will come in our subsequent bulletins. And moving on, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has won all the 13 chairmanship seats in the just concluded local government elections held on Saturday, 2nd November 2024 in Nasarawa State. Chairman, Nasarawa State Independent Electoral Commission, Ayuba Wande, made the declaration in Lafia. Ayana J. Alta reports. Other reports will also come in our subsequent bulletins. Let's take a breather now. More reports shortly.
The dreams that our founding fathers envisaged are still work in progress. Every day, we put our hands on the plow, determined to do a better job of it. While it is tempting to focus on what has been left undone and where we have stumbled as a nation, we must never lose sight of how far we have come in forging and holding our country together.
Like we told you earlier on, security experts say safeguarding power installation must be considered top priority by host communities to mitigate vandals threatening the country's collective clamor for power supply. This and other issues came to the fore on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria. Lydia Sampson reports.
Vandalizing power installations for whatever reason is an economic sabotage that unfortunately affects Nigerians. The question is, why should key players and people in communities be unperturbed when actions of few bad eggs put their lives in jeopardy?
Now, we can't talk about vandals without talking about the bad eggs also in the electricity sector. Because why? For you to successfully go up, take cables and do all of that, you need an expert in that line to guide you through.
We need to also find a monitoring and tracking system that can help us to easily mitigate from where we are to where we're supposed to be.
They want transmission companies to proactively engage the communities before installing facilities, as well as educating the people to engender prevention and protection of critical power installations.
When you want to install an infrastructure, carry the community along. You do a mapping of the area. Who are those that originally own this land? Now, if you put a power line on my street, they say the EDC or whatever now has right of way. I'll be denied access to it. Sometimes by force, sometimes no compensation is paid. The community, before these things are installed, have to be carried along.
They are emphatic that leveraging technology for tracking trunks having issues rather than spending much more money to repair vandalized installations, interagency cooperation and centralizing information, they insist must be encouraged. They want perpetrators punished to serve as deterrent. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, Nta News.
And that concludes the news desk at 6 on Nta News 24. Thank you for watching. I am Nta Daniels.